Hey dumplings, it's Dave decided we need to talk about Jung Kook's World Cup song and some of the controversy already happening with the song. I wanted to get into Jung Kook getting emotional and crying, and then we need to talk about Jin getting a bit annoyed. So hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Wherever your dumplings, he's spilling mug merch, and your limited edition Christmas dumpling sweater. Proceeds of the sweater are going to charity, and the sweater may be taken off the shop after Thanksgiving. Now let's get into it. Jin has been on his last few journeys lately before the enlistment. I don't want to make it sound sad, but obviously we won't be getting any new content from him for a while. It'll just likely be pre-recorded stuff if we do see anything. Jin recently had the opportunity to do a reality show to promote the song and his solo stuff. The show is called Drunken Truth and airs on YouTube, so anyone can watch it for free. I do plan on eventually reacting to Drunken Truth on Patreon, so if you want to join me over there, we can react to it together. I do currently have a lot of BTS reality show reactions already there, so you already have something to watch if you head over there. I will link the Patreon in the description. But the show so far has seemingly been very cute, and we got to see a lot of cute moments start to trend. Jin does the show with a very famous Korean chef named Chef Beck and a good friend of Jin. There was a segment where Jin got a bit annoyed. Jin and Beck were just sitting down and talking. Beck asked Jin where Jin will be stationed during the military. Keep in mind, this was likely filmed maybe a month or two before the official announcement of the military, so it was still very far from Jin enlisting, as opposed to now where it's very close to Jin enlisting. When Beck asked this, he followed up with some reassuring words that Beck will be going to visit Jin in the enlistment. Jin of course rolled his eyes. Jin of course knows something that we don't, because I don't see why he would think that Beck was lying about wanting to visit. I'm sure BTS members would all visit, I'm sure family might visit, but perhaps there are so many regulations that people actually can't visit. But Jin seemed to be rolling his eyes to imply that no one is actually going to visit him. Everyone is just going to be saying nonsense to him right now. You know how you just say things to people but you don't mean them? I think Beck was honest about it, but I think it is hard for us normal people to understand why someone wouldn't visit Jin, because we would love to see him. But it's totally possible that Jin may go and not get that many visitors. People don't typically want to enter a military campground, and it's not like Jin would have nothing to do. There's a military schedule and training that he has to do. And then given that all of Jin's friends, either Beck or BTS members, are all extremely busy with their own schedule since they're famous, chances are if they're free, Jin might not be free that day from training and actually sit down and talk to friends. So I see why Jin rolled his eyes, because he's like, oh, people just say things. Funny enough, the eye roll ended up trending on Twitter because people thought that this was so hilarious, and it was also an expression we have never seen Jin do. We all have expressions that we don't typically often do, but we do them at occasion that are usually not caught on camera or in front of friends. Jin is also an actor, so he can pick up and do whatever expressions he can imagine. But I do hope Jin has a smooth enlistment and is given some sufficient time off. It's pretty emotional even just having Jin admit the enlistment. I can't be the only one that thinks that. Like, I don't think it has sunk into me yet that BTS won't be BTS for a while and that Jin is actually going. I just kept thinking that maybe it won't happen. But it definitely has sunk in once I am seeing the clips of them talking about it. I'm sure the members have been emotional too, and I think Jin would call the members first before he goes. Jung Kook actually is probably very emotional right now, not just over the enlistment, although that probably does contribute, but over his success of performing in the World Cup. Jung Kook was announced to officially be opening the ceremony for the World Cup and performing a new song. The song is called Dreamers, and it's currently out on Spotify, and apparently there might be a music video for it as well. This is huge. I am genuinely curious what the numbers for this song will look like with this huge televised audience, but I will get into the song a little bit later. Right now I wanted to talk about specifically just the World Cup and what that means to Jung Kook. Very long ago, back when BTS made their debut, and around that era, Jung Kook was still very young and was asked to read a letter that he wrote for ARMY and what type of impact he wanted to make. The artists that succeed in entertainment are not always just based on talent, but based on what you represent and how hard you work. It just so happens that Jung Kook is super talented, works hard, and represents hope to a lot of people. Jung Kook, during this interview, Jung Kook mentions how he has developed very little at that point, but his goal is to be an artist that touches many people with just his voice. To also be an artist that people are not embarrassed to say that they're a fan of. K-pop in general has always had that stigma of people being scared to tell their friends or family about it because it's considered quote-unquote weird, and it shows that BTS was never unaware of that. Jung Kook was tearing up at this point during the interview, and looking back from that to where he is now performing at the World Cup, he has met that goal entirely. Yes, there's still plenty of people who are probably ashamed of liking K-pop, but K-pop and Jung Kook now have a global recognition, and really at this point the only countries that really shame K-pop and Jung Kook are the ones that really don't accept other cultures, which you don't really need to impress anyway. This is very emotional to see, and see what impact Jung Kook actually now has on the world. And I can't believe the opportunity that was given to him and him being able to showcase his voice. There will not be a single soul in the world after this performance that would be able to say that he can't sing or he is not a good performer. The song again is called Dreamer, and it's a perfect title and song for something like the World Cup, which is just meant to inspire. And whether you're an artist or an athlete, you aspire to one day be able to take the opportunity to showcase your skills on a platform like that, where you can literally make your own country and the world proud. Like, you can probably count with your hands how many people have done this. Of course, armies were very excited to hear this song and stream it, but there actually ended up being some controversy. The song was promoted and talked about as not Jung Kook's solo song, but a collab. People were confused why it was considered a collab, as they believe Jung Kook should have gotten the whole credit. The artist that will also appear in the song is named Fahad. He is a local artist in that area. Now, to give some context on the whole thing, the last person to do what Jung Kook is doing now is back in 1998 and is Ricky Martin. So this hasn't been done for literal decades. And even back then, Ricky Martin's song needed to have a collab, as they wanted a local artist to also appear on the track. People were mad about Jung Kook sharing the spotlight and asked Fahad's part to be removed, and then being relieved that he only had like 10% of the lines in that song. This is so beyond messed up, and some people know this, so they're trying to say Jung Kook wouldn't like this behavior, and that's true. I would also like to add that it's not even Jung Kook that would hate this. This is not a behavior you should exhibit in life, even if Jung Kook only had 10% of the lines. That's an honor to Jung Kook too. It also takes away Fahad's achievements as an artist. How do you think he would feel reading tweets like, "Thank God he's not in the majority of the song"? That's so messed up. Chances are, if Jung Kook worked with Fahad, then they're friends, and so that's no way to treat a friend, and definitely a reason why some people might be scared to work with BTS, because they don't want this hate. Fahad seemed so excited, and I doubt he's actually reading any of this, to be honest, but he literally posted so many people who were tagging him and talking about the song and the World Cup. He is very excited and very supportive. Imagine someone who has been nothing but kind to the fandom and to your favorite artist receiving hate just for being on a song. He didn't even have to do anything bad. The song is great with him on it, and the song wouldn't be the same if you took out a collaborator or any person that is on it. I also kept seeing over and over again that people who were claiming that this was a collab to delete their tweet or shut up. What is the problem if it was a collab? Like, it doesn't take away from Jung Kook, and people still believe Jung Kook can sing. I just don't understand. If anything, people at Qatar seeing Jung Kook next to their possible favorite artist would boost the popularity of Jung Kook in that area. Similarly to how you saw Halsey feature on Boy With Love, and that helped BTS break into the American radio. It's necessary, and I'm glad they did it like that. But what do you think of all this? Do you think Jin is annoyed at Baek and doesn't think anyone will show up at the military camp? How do you think Jung Kook is feeling lately after achieving his biggest goal? And what do you think about Fahad on the track? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.